Hi, my friends. Join me to drink some tea. I'm drinking some mint tea. And I wanted to talk about, let's just not comment, but I just wanted to talk about the whole WizardLiz Landon thing. I really don't know anything, don't know a lot about the situation, or obviously I don't know either of them personally, and I'm not even gonna comment on anything regarding them, but it just got me thinking about the current state of relationships and how difficult it is nowadays to navigate this world. So in context, for just so you could get to know me more, I'm 29, single, have been single for a long time, tried dating, but it just didn't work out, and now I'm not dating anyone, and I'm not planning on dating anyone, and I'm okay with it. I had a moment in my life where I was not okay with it. I was actively looking for a partner and actively dating and doing all that, but now I'm more okay with my singleness, and I'm not too disappointed if I end up being single for a very long period of time, or even for forever. So that's my journey. But I have been noticing the discussion online has been growing more. I guess I want to say everyone's a bit more confrontational. I feel like men feel like, well, there's this whole thing, male loneliness epidemic, right? Men feel like women have misplaced their standards, and women feel like men just don't value them enough. And there are very dangerous sides to both arguments. On the one hand, there's women that think that men hate women, and that they are users, and they only see us as objects, and that they that men basically hate women, which is obviously very wrong. And on the male side of things, there's this argument that men don't need women, that women only look for men who can get them from point A to point B, that women are solely motivated by money, and that the men are allowed to cheat because it's in their DNA. And obviously both, the extreme side of both arguments is so awful. And as someone who's chronically online, I really consciously need to tell myself to take a break, because I don't want to infect myself with these negative thoughts. Because in my real life, I have amazing men surrounding me. I have amazing older brothers that are incredible men, And I also have a great dad, amazing dad, the best dad, who shows me every day what it's like to be a good man and a good father and a good husband to my mom. So in my life, when I turn off the TV or when I put Instagram or where I stop scrolling, I see great men, and I have amazing male friends, but obviously this whole internet thing kind of puts forward really opinions that are really extreme and incendiary, obviously when I expose myself to those kinds of opinions, I start feeling some type of way. But as soon as I stop the scrolling and I look with my real eyes, the men around me, I know that men are vital, great, awesome, loving. I love the men in my life, and I am grateful for the men in my life. So yeah, as a woman, single woman, I've been single for really my whole life, except for one, or I'm not gonna say single my whole life, but I've had maybe just one or two meaningful relationships. And I've tried the dating scene. I've tried, the dating apps. It's tough. And I'm not a model. I'm not, someone that has pretty privilege. Absolutely not. Couldn't be further from the truth, actually. But it's tough out here. Kind of wanted to get you guys' opinion. I feel like nowadays there's a lot of incredibly harming voices, like the red pill community and the princess treatment community. I feel like at the end of the day, and this is not to fault anyone, like going back to the whole WizardLiz Landon thing, she's absolutely not at fault, and he's made a huge mistake. Yeah, it's her whole situation is really heartbreaking as a woman. Yeah, I'm not judging her at all, but I feel like somewhere along the way, and I'm talking in general, this is not related to anyone in particular, but somewhere along the way we forgot that community and having somebody by your side is amazing. Having, whether it's your parents, your best friend, your colleagues, having someone that relies on you, having a community of people around you is so valuable. It's not about what they can give you. It's not about how you look when you're around them. It's not about what they look like. I think at the end of the day, I feel like nobody's talking about, what about those days when you just want somebody to tell, you had a really bad day at work? I'm not talking about a relationship. It could be anything. It could be a good friendship. It could be a great relationship with your parents, with your siblings, with your roommate. It could be so many things. That kind of companionship can really take many forms in my eyes. But I don't know, I feel like, did we forget that's the whole point? Like, that's the whole point, like having people around you to love and feeling loved back. I feel like that's the whole point. At least for me. Like, if I ever get into this sort of relationship where I make a promise in front of the people that I love to be with this person forever, then I would just consider myself so lucky. And it's not even about marriage, it's not even about that. It's just, if you have a person right now next to you by your side that is truly happy because you're with them, you are so lucky. And that doesn't even mean a boyfriend, a wife, a husband. It could be a friend, a parent, a sibling. Having people need us and want us in their life is amazing and soothing. And pushing people away so that nobody needs us, or that we only need ourselves, is empty and solitary. At least for me. Obviously, this is just my opinion. And this is not advice or whatever, because it would be dumb to follow my advice. I'm the type of person that thinks that 2 is better than 1, and that sharing your life with someone is a beautiful gift. And I'm not even talking about the ultimate goal being marriage. If you've ever been in love, like really, really in love, like, you know, like accepting the person for who they are, fully seeing them, wanting to know more about them every day, wanting to help them out every day, wanting to include them in your life every day, wanting to share everything you see with them, almost like if you could give them access to your mind and what you're seeing, you would. And like, if you could screen share your sight to them, you would. And you want to see everything that they see, everything that their eyes see, you want to see, because you want to be there every step of the way. If you've ever felt that, even if it ended, even if it's gone, even if that person that made you feel that way is gone, or you guys don't even speak anymore, it's still wonderful that you got to experience that. And it's still wonderful that even though maybe it didn't end the way you wanted to, but it's still wonderful that your heart got to grow that way, and your heart was so full at one point that, you know, you weren't just you anymore. It was you and that person. And that, even though maybe it didn't materialize into like a wedding or having kids with them or whatever, but just that is such a miracle. So what I'm saying is, maybe we should like stop seeing people as prizes or thinking that people are replaceable. I feel like in this life we must live in order to, let me phrase that. I feel like making your life have less connections is worse for you in the end, and having responsibilities, accepting that having somebody love you is a responsibility, instead of shying away from those responsibilities, instead of wanting less responsibility, less connections, less troubles, we should want more and more and more and more. Because even though having that pressure or that responsibility can sometimes feel very heavy, I promise you, not having it is increasingly goes, weighs heavy on you. At least that's what I think. Obviously, this is all my opinion, by the way, my very unsolicited opinion. But yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think? I wish we could go back to the time before there was like this advice, like, don't text him for 3 hours if you really like him, or if you like this girl, don't give her all your attention, or if you like this guy, use this type of language. I don't know, like, I wish we could just say, you know what, I wanted to get to know you. I want, from this day forward, everything you see, I either want to be a witness of you with it, or I want to know in a lot of detail what's happening. It's almost like if I could give you access to what my eyes are seeing and you could have it on a live feed, I would do it, because to me, if I love someone, I want to know everything about them. Yeah. To love me is to know me. And yeah, I feel like we should stop overcomplicating things. I wish we could. Maybe, you know what, maybe this is why I'm single. Because I don't have a very good grip on these things, but it's okay, being single is also okay. I feel like I personally, if I'm single for the rest of my life, I'm okay with it. Obviously, I'm not like jumping for joy, because I someday do want to like have kids and experience having a husband and kids if it's possible. But if it's not, I'll find other ways to be happy, and I'll find the courage to find my source of happiness and my fulfillment from another source. But if I'm single and I don't get to experience that side of life, I will be okay too, because I already did fall in love. I know what it's like to want to know everything about a person, and I felt loved, you know, even though it didn't end the best way, or even though it ended, I'm still very grateful for that person that walked into my life. And you know, some people leave this world without ever having loved like that, and I already did. And if that's my only experience, then that's great. Obviously, if I get the gift and the blessing of loving again, I will give it my all, my whole heart, everything, even if it ends in fire, because loving is never a waste. Your heart always grows, and once it grows, it never goes back to its normal size. Its previous size, let's say that way, not normal. So just wanted to share my thoughts to the maybe 2 people that will watch it. But yeah, guys, love is not a given. Not everyone will find love. Not everyone will get married. Not everyone will have a first kiss. Not everyone will have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. These are not givens. I feel like we also hear too much, like, oh, it will happen for you. It will just happen when you least expect it. And I know I know why they say it, and I hope it's true, but it also could happen that tomorrow you don't wake up. And this is very grim, but that's the truth. We must always remember that nothing is, you know, love is not a given. Nothing is a given. Sometimes I think my next breath is a given, and thank God it is. It was that last breath. But at the same time, we literally don't know what's gonna happen the next second. So maybe you find love, maybe you don't. Maybe you fall in love, maybe you don't. Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. Maybe you have your dream job, maybe you don't, and you find another dream. Maybe, you know? So if you listening right now are happily in love, why don't you go like kiss them so much? Because you're lucky. And even though it maybe right now you're like fighting with them or whatever, you're still lucky. So why don't we go back to being like thankful and realizing that having someone to share your life with, even if it's just for a month, that's wonderful. And if your heart is pure and your intentions are right, then it will all end up the way it's supposed to. Even if it's painful, or hopefully it's cheerful. But that's just my 2 cents. In a very long format. Yeah. Hopefully you guys are doing great. Hopefully you have people in your life that you love. And if you don't, hopefully you have the courage to find the people that you love. Maybe it's meeting a new friend or just doing something that you love. I'm not a counselor, therapist, or anything relevant or intelligent or medically, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm just a stranger that was thinking about these things and thought I'd record them. But that's my 2 cents. You guys hopefully have a great rest of your day, whatever time of day it is. I like watching these types of ASMR videos. I don't know if it's like full ASMR. There's some background noises, but I like soft-spoken videos. So like I said in my first video, I love ASMR. Yeah, you guys take care.